Okay, how y'all doing? How are y'all doing? Okay, everybody get up. Everybody get up. We're closing this thing out. Let's go. Get up. I don't have the music on, but what we're going to do is we're going to put our arms out like this, okay? So everybody, I can't see because there's bright lights in my eyes. We're going to do this, okay? I do this with my therapist and my partners every week. It's going to give you fucking energy, okay? We're going to let the child out inside of us. Hands up. We're going to lean to our right and left when I tell you, slowly first, and we're just going to go woo, 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 okay? If you don't do it, we're going to do it again. So let's just do it loud on the first time. 3, 2, 1. Woo, 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 woo! Okay, let's party, guys. Okay. I just pulled something in my rib. I'm holding God's water, it says, but I'm going to put it out there. Okay, so we're going to talk about something that's relevant for everybody in this room, whether you are selling plumbing services, whether you're selling chocolate bars like myself, or you're selling a service. Because storytelling and authenticity is one of the most powerful tools we have as humans, as businesses. And we all have access to them, yet many of us do not use them. So we're going to talk about these things. First off, who am I? I'm a rainmaker. I'm Jake Karls. I'm 31 years old. But when I was in high school, I actually did so bad in school that in grade 11, my parents were called to the principal's office, and my mom was crying, and I looked at her and I said, "What's wrong?" She's like, "You're the only one in the entire school that's not going to graduate." I had like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I think 64 was my highest mark. And I was having the time of my life. I used school as my playground. That was like my place where I had fun. I met people. I was authentically, unapologetically myself. I was the class clown. And I felt like a hero till that moment came. And when that moment came, I actually felt like a loser. I felt like what I was doing, being me every day, was wrong because I was the only one not going to go to CEGEP, which is where I'm from in Montreal. It's grade 12 and 13. And every one of my amazing academic friends were going to go on. In that moment, I had a choice. I had a choice to follow everyone else or stay true to myself. And I decided to actually follow everybody else. I took away this class clown behavior, I stopped being myself, and I took that last year of that school to study. I studied my ass off. I ended up getting a 60+ average. I graduated. And I went to college, and I tried to study actuarial science. Does anyone know what an actuary is here? Raise your hand if you do. Okay, smart people. Actuary is the opposite of who I am. I respect the actuaries tremendously, but it's basically deep stats and math. It's people that are extremely smart, and I wanted to do it because I wanted to prove to everybody that I was no longer the dumb kid in school or the class clown or the one that was not so smart. And I showed up every day to Western University, struggling, depressed at times, to go to class and just to show that I could do what everyone else wants to see from me. I thought this in my head. I told myself the story. I need to do well. I need to do well. I need to graduate, get a job, have a family. That's life. That's society. That's the rules of the game. And I'll never forget, third year university, failing miserably, and I was partying like a degenerate, to be honest with you, but I was having fun, failing school. I applied to every investment bank, every single investment bank and insurance company, and 36 rejections later, I was on my parents' couch. I didn't even make it past the first interview. On my parents' couch, I was flipping through the channels. I saw Shark Tank. Does anyone watch Shark Tank or Dragon's Den? Raise your hand. We got to have more. You guys are all entrepreneurs. I hope so. And I saw this guy, 50, 60 years old. He was pitching his dream. He was pitching this idea. I can't remember what the product was, but he was so momentous. He was so energetic. He was so amped up, fired up. He had his veins popping. He was so happy and excited, but yet he had so much to lose. He had 2 mortgages on his house to pay his business. He had 2 or 3 kids. He could barely put food on the table. But he was so passionate, he was so energetic. And I was sitting on my parents' couch, thank God I had food on the table. I had clothes, I had necessities, shelter, love. But I was so depressed because I didn't have a job. In that moment, I said, fuck it. And I said it because I yelled it so loud, my mom came downstairs and said, what's wrong? I said, no, I feel good. I decided to drop out of actuarial science. And that was the first moment in my life I took a leap. I took a leap of faith against the odds or against what society wanted of me. And I said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And I started a business, a fitness business. I made $80,000 cash that summer, training people outdoors in boot camps in Montreal. I didn't pay a dime to the government, so it was $80,000 cash to the T. Now my company, I pay taxes, obviously. I think it's really important. But the idea was, Midday Squares is clean, don't worry. The bars are also clean. But long story short, I did that for 3 years, and then I started another business, and I went bankrupt in my second business. And when I was 25 years old, my sister and brother-in-law approached me after I got canned by my ex-girlfriend after 5 years out of nowhere, and they said, do you want to be part of this chocolate bar company? Do you want to be the hype guy? Do you want to be the one that builds the brand, the community? And I know Aaron spoke about community this morning. They said, can you build the community around a chocolate bar? And I looked at them, and I said, are you out of your mind? Are you crazy? Chocolate bars? There's thousands of chocolate bars around the world. I said, you go to a typical supermarket, like great supermarkets like Walmart, there's 40,000 products on a shelf. How do you expect a little one chocolate bar in a refrigerator to win? And they said, that's your job. And I said, well, I like the challenge. Let's do it. And we launched Midday Squares. 2018, this is where it started. This gives me PTSD because that's where we're hand-making bars every single day. That's our condo kitchen. My sister, me, and my brother-in-law, we're hand-making chocolate bars every single day. 50 bars per day was the max. We had tendinitis in the elbows, but we were energetic. We were fired up. We had this momentum, this passion, the founder momentum, that soul. And we were selling them at 25 cents a bar at the time. Could you imagine? 25 cents today, it's $2.49, big inflation increase. But the point is, we hustled. We delivered products from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. every day, hand delivering them. And today, I'm proud to say, 6 years later, we look way more energetic and fired up. We have built an automated facility here in Montreal, well, in Canada, that can do 90,000 bars per day. We sell in over 9,000 stores, I believe it's today, and we're one of the number ones in our category in the United States at retail, which is super exciting. And we've sold over 42 million bars. It's an old presentation, $42 million to date. So how do we stand out? How do we take a commodity? Thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. How did we stand out from the crowd? How do you stand out for the crowd? How do you take a commodity, chocolate bar, plumbing, whatever it is, and make it relevant, make people want to be part of it? Well, we live in an attention economy. This is relevant for everybody. The world is not what it was 15 years ago. It's not what it was 5 years ago. 5, 10 years ago, all you had to do as a business was have capital, and you could flood billboards, radio ads, TV ads, the whole 9 yards. You could put your ads up, and people were forced to pay attention. I was forced as a consumer to pay attention to the ones that had the most amount of capital because they could put the content in places where no one else had the money to do it. Commercials were $500,000 to get a small segment. Today, that's no longer the case. Today, social media, for good or bad, has democratized attention and given it back to all of us in this room as consumers. We control our attention. We choose who, what, when, why we give our attention to. Meaning that as a business, you can no longer buy people's attention. You have to earn the privilege to get their attention. So how does one earn the privilege to get someone's attention, especially in a world where you and I can choose to block, change the channel, unsubscribe with the snap of a finger? The only way to grab someone's attention today, one tool, is an old tool. Storytelling. Storytelling is so old that it's older than each one of us in this room, probably each one of us in this room combined. It's been around forever. Storytelling is how we as humans have communicated for thousands of years. It's how we've emotionally connected. It's how we've made our next decisions in life. It's how we find our partner. It's how we build our businesses. But yet we as businesses and we as individuals shy away from using storytelling to build community. You know, think back to when we hunted and gathered as a society. We would go out every single day, look for food. Then we'd cook the food by a fire with our fellow villagers. And the way that we became close with our villagers was not by just cooking the food. We would sit there and share the stories of how we hunted to improve as a unit, not as individuals, but as a unit. Now we've evolved to 7+ billion people in the world. Storytelling is so powerful that Nike, a shoe brand who I love tremendously, I don't wear their shoes right now because it hurts my knees, but, no, they're good shoes. But the point is their shoes do not cost $100 to make. They could sell them for $150. Why? Because Nike figured out how to tell a story for 40 years about the idea of achieving greatness. The Nike brand is based on beating the odds, the underdog story. They bet on the athletes in the worst times. Tiger Woods when he was going through his struggles, and then he came back and he won that, I think it was the Masters. LeBron James, all the greats, Michael Jordan, MJ. Storytelling built a premium on a shoe. Now, how many of you in this room have Apple products? Raise your hand. How many have Android? Who has it? One? Okay, why do you have it? You over there, yeah. Yeah. Yell. So to be different? Is it to be different? Okay, I like that. Anyone else have an Android? That's a really unique experience. Anyone else? I can't, yeah, why do you have it? Cheaper, I like that. Okay, so when I usually ask this question, other than the one with the wife example, people usually talk about function, price, or the product itself. They actually talk about the features, the benefits. But Apple has managed to build one of the largest companies in the world by telling an amazing story for many years and building a community around hardware. They took hardware and they attached a connection to it to make you feel part of something great. And they've done a phenomenal job. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone in 2007, I believe it was, he said this little device, this computer in your pocket is going to change the world. It's going to change your life forever, and it did. But the idea was it was a story. A story sells that brand. Great products, but people that buy Android typically talk about the product features. People that buy Apple don't say that. Midday Square is the chocolate bar. Great case study. When we built our business, the strategy was film everything, document and film everything. Create a reality show on entrepreneurship. Instead of telling you that our bars are delicious and that there's 6 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, why the hell do you care about that? You're going to scroll right by that on your phone. I told my partners, we're going to show everything. We're going to take an iPhone out, because we had iPhones, we still do, and we selfie filmed our journey and showed how we build this business. We looked at Hollywood and said, why do people care so much about Hollywood? Because there's drama, there's stories, there's connectivity. So I said to my partners, all we need to do every day is act like a boy or a girl band. But instead of selling records, we're selling chocolate. We're telling you a story to become a fan of ours, so that when you go to Walmart and want to buy a Midday Square, we shine bright like a diamond in the refrigerator. Because you know us. You feel like we're a friend of yours. Because the story has moved you. The story has got your attention. So when you see it on the shelf, it means something to you. It takes away the commodity, the transaction. It turns it into a human experience, and every product can do that. If that didn't convince you, number one, emotional connection for stories. Number two, memorability and recall. People don't remember when you're in a job interview, your grades, what you wore necessarily, the volunteer work you did, which is great. People remember how you made them feel, the stories you share. It persuades and influences people to buy your product, to invest in your company, to write a story about you. And most importantly, everyone in this room can create a Midday Square. Every single one of you can figure it out. The ingredients are in the back. You could do your math, get a food scientist, you'll figure it out. What you cannot do is copy how we make people feel. That is one of the most unique things that each one of us in this room have. We've gone through millions of experiences, if not tens of millions of experiences through our lives. That is our story. The person at your table can put the same Nike pair on, have the Apple product, wear the hat, wear these glasses, which are unbelievable. Somebody gave them to me here today. But you cannot copy how I make you feel, because I've learned so many things through my story. That's different. That's unique. So that's what differentiates you. Hopefully we could play this video. I'm not sure if we can, but don't play it yet if I can't play it on my thing. But it talks about a man named Rob Walker. And all of you should look him up after. He wanted to show scientifically how storytelling can sell products that are worth nothing and sell them for astronomical amounts by just adding stories. Let's see.
The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller, and your attention is the most valuable resource you own. Why else do companies spend $1.7 trillion a year trying to capture it? But in today's digital age, money no longer holds all the power. Instead, it's held by those who can tell a great story. That's what this man, Rob Walker, proved. He gathered worthless junk and asked over 200 writers to write him a short story for each item. And when he took those stories and put them up up on eBay, this 25-cent fake banana had sold for $76. That's why 6 years ago, we decided to show everything on social media. Our struggles, our triumphs, everything it takes to build a chocolate company in the modern day. From starting in our condo to the legal battles, the broken machinery, the blackmail, you've watched us slowly overcome challenge after challenge, always pushing forward to make our dream a reality. There are thousands upon thousands of other brands on shelves, but when you look at our bars, you don't just see chocolate. You see Les, Jake, Nick, and maybe they remind you of your best friend, your crazy cousin, your older brother, but you've seen the struggle they went through to get that bar to the shelf.
I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I have any more energy for it. Maybe I should just throw in the towel, just call it quits.
No one cares about a faceless corporation's perfect image. They relate to seeing real people dealing with the real shit that it takes to make a chocolate bar. And we're gonna continue to do that, to tell our story and build a community of people that care deeply about not just the product, but about us and the company as a whole. Storytelling is a superpower, and the best part is that everyone can tell a story. It's baked into our DNA as humans. Embrace your story and be yourself unapologetically.
Power of storytelling. Robert Walker, thank you. Second tool, probably more valuable than telling a story, is authenticity. I believe that authenticity, vulnerability, and transparency is the future currency of the world and future currency of every marketing strategy going forward. I think we as humans, as good as stories are, we crave authenticity in our lives. As good as social media I just discussed is, and sharing the stories on social media, it's got a negative effect. The negative effect, obviously, other than mental health, is that people show perfection, not imperfection. They show that everything is always so smooth sailing, everything is perfect. This is the highlight reel. And what that does actually, and we've seen it slowly happen with brands, influencers, and everything, is it's actually not relatable. It's not something that you and I want to see. We know that's not the real case. And inauthenticity is everywhere. It's everywhere on social media. You literally see the most perfect lives. How can everyone's life be so perfect? So what that does when brands do that, when individuals go out there and say, this is it, everything's perfect, perfect image, perfect writing, everything's all great, it makes you and the consumer slowly distance yourself. It creates a gap. And what that gap does is it actually repels people from wanting to buy into your product, your retailer, your service, because inauthenticity is ugly. There's nothing worse than when a friend of yours that you've known your whole life goes out to different crowds and acts different. It's uncomfortable, it's cringe, and eventually you don't want to be friends with him or her because you know who he or she is. That's not their character. Richard Branson, for good or bad, if you like him or not, he's built a multi-billion-dollar corporation based on his authenticity. Virgin Brands, I don't know, they do a lot of things. I have no idea what half the things are, but they have good energy. When you go to their hotels or you go to their concerts or iHeartMedia, whatever it is, they tell the story and the authenticity of Richard Branson. It's baked into the DNA, and it's powerful. You feel it. It works. They've been able to beat the odds because of that, his quirkiness. Authenticity shouldn't be so hard to do. It shouldn't be so hard to be ourselves every day. But yet in a world where perfection was glorified for so long, it is hard to be ourselves. It's scary. It's scary to share your story about being vulnerable, going through a hard time because you're worried about what others will think about you. We shared a video called 14 Days Later, No Divorce on our social media. It was my two partners going through almost a divorce in year 2 of our business. They co-CEO together. And it's my sister and my brother. I love them dearly. But in year 2, they were struggling in their relationship and being co-CEOs. And we made a video, because we film everything, good, bad, ugly. And we filmed the comeback story of how they got through the hard time. It was uncomfortable to watch. I used to sit through every therapy session, because that's what partners do. And I used to love both of them and say, what's going to happen? Shit. And we shared the story of how they got through it. And one of our investors, who I love dearly, sent me an email right when that video went up and said, please take that video down. It has nothing to do with selling chocolate bars. And one can say that he was correct, but I waited 24 hours before responding. And I love him dearly, and I love him even more now. But I waited 24 hours and I sent him a PDF of 1,000 messages from our community saying, thank you for being authentic, thank you for being real, this is relatable, this is why we love you, this is why you're going to be the next Hershey's in the next 20 years. Because this creates a feeling that is relatable. It builds trust that you cannot buy today. It's impossible. And I sent him the email and he said, holy shit, excuse my language. So I swore before, so whatever. But holy whatever, he said, you're building friends rather than customers. And he said, do that forever. And ever since that day, I realized the more vulnerable we are, the more transparent we are, good or bad, it actually creates a sense of community and trust that is necessary in our world. We're all going through the same world right now. Inflation is out of control. Prices are high. Last year, Midday Squares raised prices 28% on the chocolate bar. We actually shrank the bar in half. Shrinkflation, I think they call it. We had a choice. Put it under the rug, send it to our retailers, and that's it. That's all. Have a discussion with them. But let the end customers see it when they go to the store. But we chose to make a video explaining why the prices had to change. And that if we didn't do these changes because of cocoa prices, shipping, the whole 9 yards, we showed every single one of our line items, the increase in percentage, that we'd be bankrupt 3 months after that decision if we didn't make that decision. And we said to them in the video, we can do that, and we'd be bankrupt, and you'll never get a Midday Square again. Or we can do this and show you why we're doing it, and be very vulnerable and transparent, vulnerable about it. And when we posted the video, I was petrified. I thought that was the end of the business. We were the first group to actually raise in our category, 28%. And we got 95% of people that wrote in on the comments. It went viral, saying, thank you. This is why we love you guys. You guys are real. I want to buy more. I support this. Why? Because transparency is a secret weapon we all have. Vulnerability is what relates and connects and emotionally puts us together as humans. All you need to do is be yourself every day and you win. 5 reasons to be authentic in your business. You build trust with your customers. You can't buy that. You have to actually act on it. You have to be real. When a commercial is so fake, you feel like on YouTube, they post those commercials sometimes, you just press skip right away because you don't want to see it. It's fake. Relatability and connection. You hang with people that you relate to, that you have a connection with. Same thing with businesses today. You want businesses that you care about, that you relate to. Resilience during adversity. Authenticity will get you out of the problems that you're going through as a business. When we raised prices, we had support. We had resilience because we were honest. We got support from our customers and fans. 4, you attract like-minded people. Energies are a real thing. And then last but not least, long-term success. You're not in it for the short term, I hope not, because that would be useless. If you're in it for the long term, then be yourself and take the time, be patient, and I promise you it will reward you. Look at the graph. I failed college pretty bad, but when I was in probability class, because I studied to be an actuary, I kept one thing that was very valuable. And the professor was a brilliant guy. And he said, if you make average decisions every single day of your life, hence be like everybody else, every other business, the herd, statistically your output will be average. It will be a straight line with dots that just go through the straight line like that. Gorgeous if you look at it at first. It's nice. It's going up over time. It's great. Now let's take that same graph and let's input unaverage decisions. You being an outlier. You being yourself every day unapologetically is an outlier because no one has your DNA or your stories. Now the outcome from doing that every day will give you a graph that at first is hideous. Points that are up top and low, a zigzag. And at first, any sane person in this room would probably choose the other graph, the straight line. But if you have a different perspective, where the points on the bottom, the outlier points on the bottom of those unaverage decisions, are not failures or losses, but they're opportunities to learn. Because if you don't go through failure and losses in your life, or rejections, or hardships, you're never going to see greatness. You're never going to have the door to go to greatness. You're never going to have that resilience, that momentum, that feeling. It's a privilege to fail. And ever since I took that perspective of learning and failing and never doing what I did again and then improving, I've always won. So every day that I act on average, wear sunglasses inside when it's dark in here, I can't even see your faces, I feel like I'm winning. People may say it's crazy, stupid. But I don't care. An on-average decision is memorable. So why are we as businesses and we as individuals, as D2C brands, not making on-average decisions in our marketing, in our communications, in our decision-making, in our innovation. Because if you follow everyone else, someone else is going to do it better than you. More money, more time, more labor power. You're not going to win that game. But you will win the game of unaverage decisions. Next steps. If I can leave you with 3 things today, and we're going to do a Q&A if you guys have any questions. 3 things. We didn't talk about number 1 is product market fit. You need product market fit in this world, and everyone in this room likely has that. So we didn't talk about that, but that's critical. Number 2, share your story every single day of your life. Every single day you should share your story, good or bad. 10 views, 5 views, 20 views, 7,000, 250,000 views. You're always one step away from your whole life changing. In 2019, Midday Squares needed $4 million from the Quebec government, because I'm from Quebec. We were building a manufacturing plant. We had under $1 million of revenue. No bank would touch us to build a facility when you're that low in revenue and you don't have that much momentum. So what we did was we sent blank checks, because we were number 71 in line, waiting for our loan from the government. We sent blank checks, because that's what entrepreneurs do, they get creative, to our European manufacturers that make the custom machines, because we needed custom machines, we needed to put the down payment down, because if we didn't put the down payment down, we'd have to hand make the bars and we'd go bankrupt, because it was costing too much to have too many team members do it. We sent blank checks. I went to the hockey game in Montreal Canadiens, I can't remember who they were playing. I bought 3 seats up front row tickets behind the penalty box. Why did I choose these seats? Because in the penalty box, they have a GoPro that when the player comes in, it goes on national television and the billboard on the top. So you get 20,000 people in the stadium seeing what you're on camera, and then you get the millions of Canadians watching TV. So I brought expired bars, and I was going to put it on top of the player's head when he came in the box, and we were going to get on national television for $900, 3 seats, who cares? Great value. I was going bankrupt anyways because we weren't going to get our money. So I'm sitting next to this guy. He's wearing a suit. He looks fresh, really good, gorgeous. And people keep coming up to this guy, shaking his hand, taking pictures. I didn't know who this guy was, but it was annoying. Your front row, people are going, I want to trip people. Really annoying. Like, people were rude. They were going during the game. Like, it's not nice. Finally, at the end of the second period, a penalty comes. It's my chance now to put the bars on top of the player's head. I lean on his groin near his whatever, and because I didn't want to ask because I was already fed up. And I went on TV and everyone started clapping because the local brand, success story, whatever. And he laughs, and in a French accent, he says to me, "Is this your business?" And I go, nice of you to ask. I go, "Are you famous, bro?" I called him bro. I feel really bad that I called him this, but he goes, "I'm not famous." He's like, "I'm a politician." I'm like, "Oh, what do you do?" Excuse my naiveness. He's like, "I'm the Premier of Quebec. Monsieur François Legault, tabarnak." Okay, so I'm like, holy shit. 25 minutes left. I had 5 minutes left in that period, 20 more minutes. I've got my full attention of sharing Midday Squares' story. We're waiting on $4.1 million from his government. I tell him the whole story of how we're building a Quebec business, proud to be in Quebec, build a modern-day Hershey's with jobs here in Canada and Quebec that exports tremendously. He got so inspired, so fired up. He said, "Have you used our programs?" I said, "Well, we're waiting, and we sent blank checks." He's like, "Can I try the bar?" I'm like, "They're expired, you can't." But I said, "You could buy them." He's like, "I'll buy them." Within 36 hours of leaving that Bell Center that day, $4.1 million was transferred into the bank account. I can't tell you he did anything. I don't know what he did because I don't know if he did anything, but we were 71 in line, and with government that could take years. But what I noticed from that experience is that when you share your story, you never know who you're with, who's going to open the next door for you, and you have nothing to lose other than opportunity. Last but not least, be unapologetically yourself every day. Wear what you want, be what you want, because you are your best version when you are yourself. You are your superpower, so don't let anyone tell you to be somebody else. When I was in high school, I was authentically myself. I failed school. I was the class clown. I had fun. When I was in college, I was depressed every single day because I was sitting there trying to do something not for me but for somebody else to prove to people from an external validation standpoint that I could do it. So, definitely follow our journey if you want to have fun on Midday Squares. Add me on LinkedIn if you ever want to connect. And does anybody have any Q&A? Because we have 5 minutes left. Otherwise, we're taking a big group photo. Everyone's going to stand up. You're coming on stage to do it. But before that, any Q&A? Don't be shy, guys. You know, we asked Walmart before. Great. Anybody? Don't be shy. Who doesn't share their story here? Yes, you could yell. I can't see you, but you could yell. Am I what? Yeah, go. I can't see, so it's either way, it's good.
Okay, so cool. Yeah, we're live. Okay, we're doing it live. So my name's Madison. My twin sister and I founded a tallow-based skincare brand. Tallow is beef fat, so it's a different product. A lot of people are kind of grossed out about it, so we're doing a whole lot of educating for our customers. We are 16 months into business, and we just reached 6 figures with zero.
Yes, let's go. Everyone give her claps. It's not easy.
My twin sister and I are literally making absolutely everything from scratch. We're labeling everything, we're manufacturing everything, and we are our own fulfillment center. So these girls, we're turning 25 in a month, and we're super excited, but there's so much to learn, and being here, I did cry listening to you speak, so thank you for touching so deeply. Hit the nail on the head there. But what's my question?
You're a rock star.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I have a question other than listening to my quick little Coles Notes story that I just told you. What do you think my next move should be? We haven't put a single dollar towards ads. We are sharing, well, we're definitely going to be sharing our story more after listening to this beautiful keynotes here. But yeah, what do you think?
Well, congratulations on your success and you taking the risk. Risk is something Canada's missing right now. So congratulations on that. I think you should hire a videographer and a creator. I think, when we started our business, the one thing that we were doing everything, like you're saying, shipping, hand making, doing strategic decisions for margin, all that jazz. And then we were filming ourselves, and that was so much effort and energy, and it actually took away from a lot of the flow of the actual running the business. And we realized before even hiring a food scientist, we actually hired a videographer creator, and it changed our entire life. And it made us a content-first business. It made us a media-first business, which is so critical in today's world. Whatever you're selling, it doesn't make a difference. You need to be a media-first business. So I would suggest that looking at that as an option, even if it's an internship or something, it will relieve a lot of stress. Even if you enjoy telling your story, it will relieve a lot of the stress that's necessary to do in today's world. And I think that you're already on your way to success. 6-figure business already in that short time. You guys are crushing it. So continue to share your story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so with the storytelling and hiring a videographer, do we basically just hire them, follow us around, take absolutely endless content, or are we getting them to share the story as well, or is it just go nuts and balls to the walls, post nonstop?
Look, do you post on LinkedIn, by the way?
I don't. I don't even have 500 connections. Can everyone go connect with me? Madison Tylak, seriously.
What's your full name?
Madison, Madison, Tylak, Tylak.
I
Like,
love
comment,
that.
subscribe.
Definitely follow her. But I think that LinkedIn, for everybody in this room, is not just a corporate platform for finding jobs and stats. LinkedIn is a platform trying to identify themselves today. So they just launched recently like a video side of their platform where they're amplifying their video, which to me has nothing to do with finding jobs. So they're lost in their identity, in my opinion, and it's an opportunity to go viral very quickly and create content with a very powerful group of people that are on that platform. So for me, I started posting on LinkedIn 2 years ago, and I was so nervous that I posted like quotes from famous people as my first post, and I got like 5 views, like those like weird posts. And I was just scared. I don't want to be different. I was like, what would the corporate world think of me? I look slightly different. And then I started to post a little bit more stuff that was authentic to me, a little bit more. And now, 2.5 years later, whatever it is, it's now 20 to 150,000 views per post. And I post crazy shit. Like I'll take my shirt off and dance at a retailer and talk about partnership, because it is partnership. And it works. So as a business, every single one of you should take advantage of it. It's not only raised us $10+ million, we've gotten all of our media interviews with big publications through LinkedIn, and we've gotten our retail partnerships way stronger simply by going on LinkedIn, because they're on LinkedIn. Our category managers, the buyers, are watching content on LinkedIn. So share. I would advise to you not just do Instagram and TikTok, but hit on LinkedIn because it's a powerful source.
Done deal. I'm doing it. Thank you so much.
You're a rock star. Cheering you on. Anybody else? Because I can't see anything. Yeah, go ahead. I see your hand.
Hello. So I'm a founder of an arts and craft company, and I want to share like my story authentically every day, but I'm not sure if that would like resonate, like that like kind of scrappiness with like a artsy girl sort of demographic that I'm selling to. So I'm guessing like what sort of approach should I go about if I want to do this sort of thing? Or what would you suggest?
Imperfect is the hottest thing. It's the hottest thing. So scrappiness works. I wish that we could actually go back further to scrappier. Now when you start to see things and you get better and you're like, oh shit, how do I go back? I would love to go back to that instead of the perfect edited content. I think that your authenticity of your scrappiness is going to strike your demographic extremely well. It's going to relate, and that's all you want is trust and relatability. And again, authenticity is the number one, success tool for that. And, I wouldn't be scared of that. Our first retailer that we ever worked with bought into our scrappiness and said, I want to give you guys a chance because I believe in what you're doing. It's real. It's authentic. It's not picture perfect. So I would say continue doing the scrappiness and post it everywhere. Don't be shy. Again, you're one moment away from your life changing from any story that goes out there. Good question. I don't know where you are. Yeah.
Hi. How do you handle the haters?
Trolls are just people that love you. You need to show them love. So I give you a funny story. I used to hate trollers. I used to hate them because when you post yourself loud and you're taking your shirt, showing your nipple and doing crazy shit, people are going to put you down. And, we've done some crazy stuff, and I'll never forget some guy in Montreal, my hometown, made a 12-minute, I think it was 12 minutes or 11 minutes and 30-something seconds, video trashing me, okay? I don't even know the guy. And it was brutal. It was like so mean, like makes fun of my insecurities, my slanted teeth that I've had my whole life, like all these things that I work on myself. And before watching the video, I said to my parents and my family, I said, guys, we're gonna do a movie night. We're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this hatred. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. And we watched it together, and it was really cringe. It was horrible. And I couldn't understand how someone had so much hate. So then I hit him up, and I was like, yo, you wanna go dancing? You wanna go salsa dancing or something? And he kept going. He was so rude. Kept calling me names. Finally, he broke after my positivity kept shining through. And he said, dude, I'm so sorry, man. He's like, I had a bad day, and I saw one of your pieces of content. I don't even know you. And then I just went crazy on you. And I don't mean any of that stuff. And we've now become friends. We went for drinks that time when he apologized. And what I realized that these trolls, sometimes they're going through things, they're suffering. And if you could be empathetic as a human, I know it sounds hard and cheesy, but if you could be there for them, a lot of the time, it has nothing to do with you. It's actually them going through something. And that's 7 out of 10 people. 3 out of the 10 are just pure assholes, and you could block them and get rid of them. And we all have been through those people. But be empathetic. It will change your whole life on trolls. Now I embrace the trolls. I always say, guys, come for dinner. Let me pay for your dinner. Come see me after an hour. If you hate me after that, then we're good. But if you're not going to, because I believe I'm a kind person. So I would say approach the trolls like that, but it took years of therapy to go through that to get to that. Because at first I was like, how could someone be so mean? So it's a them problem. Anyone else? Before we do, I know I see the time's at 0.
I have the mic.
Yeah? Go ahead.
Hi, Jake. It's Steph.
Legend.
As your OG fan, I think I tested one of your first bars back in, you were at Equinox, so in Toronto,
Woo!
the first time you guys did taste testing. So I've been loyal to your chocolate ever since. So my question's not about storytelling or your content, because I love you for that already. But my question's twofold. So one, what is a business milestone that you've achieved that has made a significant impact overall in your business? And two, from that one experience, how would you shape that into a story to tell your future grandkids one day that's going to help shape their future?
Great. Where are you, by the way? Can you stand up?
I'm right here.
Oh, shit, that's bad.
Hi.
I love you hard, by the way. Not inappropriately, but like I do. So great question. One of the biggest milestones that we've been through that I believe was because we own our manufacturing, we bet on something that was our own creation, an innovation that was not third-partied, it was all internal, and we wanted to keep it that way. We stayed true to our gut. We took a huge risk. And we knew that we would lose money to a certain extent, and then at a certain revenue marker, it would tip over to profitability. And that was 3 quarters ago. We turned to the black, and it was a huge moment. And when we turned to the black, becoming profitable as an organization, it meant that the risk that we took actually made sense and worked. And it was all theoretical till it actually happened 5 years in. And one of the critical parts of the profitability was hiring the right team. And we celebrated that with a story of promoting and spotlighting our COO, our CFO, Vanessa. She came in, we were burning $1.2 million a month when she came in, losing $1.2 million a month. And a year and 3 months into her journey, we became profitable every month. And we made that story because that was about somebody else that came in and was critical to our organization, that changed things around, brought systems, brought bureaucracy in a good way, because every business needs some sense of bureaucracy and structures. But that was the story we told from it, and you could tell a story from anything, but that was probably our proudest moment because it means that we have a feasible business that could actually last on its own legs. Thank you. And thanks for supporting. Don't stop.
Never.
Go to Walmart. They're in this room. Go buy our products at Walmart.
I was cheering you guys on at Costco too.
Yo, I don't know if Walmart likes that one. But they're great. Any other questions before? Yeah, I see you in the back with a hand up.
Hi, this is Yvonne here. I do have a question in terms of the content side. Thank you so much for sharing your information with us. I wonder, what are the different content strategies when you're first starting out building your content versus you start to scale it, you have like 100K followers and you grow bigger. Do you have any different like strategies when it comes to building your content?
So when we started, we had 100 followers each, my partners and I, and Midday Squares had 0 followers. What we did was we were really scrappy, like the other gentleman was saying before. We were really scrappy, and it worked. Then as we scaled, especially in the US, we were like this Canadian business that was growing here, and then it started to shift to the US, and this US business was like, well, I don't really care much about your Canadian story, no, like not from like a negative standpoint. And we had to kind of make it more generalized, but within the humanization of the storytelling, meaning, like, instead of talking about the founder story and where it started in the condo and, you know, building Montreal up and all that jazz, we start to tell a story of like how, you know, we opened a deal with Target and we have a huge partnership, and we told that story. So we had to make it more relevant for everybody. As we scaled, we realized that the early customers didn't want us to see the same story over and over again, and that the new customers didn't even know about those stories. So they didn't get to experience what most of our customers loved us for. So it was a very hard balancing act, and we're still learning. But what we do know is when we create content today is we do three things. We make sure that, number one, it evokes an emotion. Any content that we put, we have to evoke an emotion. Sad, happiness, anger, inspiration, whatever it is, it has to evoke an emotion when we watch the content. Second is, most important, is do we actually like watching this content? And if the answer is no, then we won't share that video, even if we spent a month working on that or 2 days, whatever it is. And the third one is just, you don't need to share so much content. Like at the end, you don't have to share every day. Someone said, should I share a lot? You don't need to. Put out content that you love. Somebody else is going to love your content. At least one person out there. And you don't need the viral videos that are 20, 30, 40 million. Our most revenue videos are actually like 20, 30,000. The 10, 20 million videos we have, it's not, because it's not as relevant. It's just cool to go viral. But overall, again, evoke an emotion and make sure you like your own content and don't care what anyone else thinks. That's it.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. I have one thing I want to share with everyone right here. So I think this is truly inspiring. I've been doing a content challenge for 60 days in a row, and if I miss one day, we pay $1,000 donate to charity.
Well, that's good.
And if anyone here, and we've been doing it for 3 weeks straight, and no one has been missing it yet. If anyone here, I know a lot of you guys want to build content, want to build your brand. If anyone want to join the community, feel free to find me here. I would love to have a bigger group of community to support this journey.
Woo! Yeah. Whoever doesn't share their story should do that, because it will train your muscle to share more stories, whether it's viral content or not. It's just to train that muscle of comfortableness to tell their story. Anyone else before we do a big picture, okay? I want to get a big picture. So everybody get up. Can you come get a photo? You guys can come in? Guys, everybody get up, get closer. We're going to do a big selfie, and we're going to yell e-commerce north in a video, okay? So we need someone to take it for us. Can somebody come take it?
All right, everyone, let's give another round of applause for the one and only Karls.